Currently there is some hype around vitamin K2 within the integrative medicine field. Is this justified or exaggerated? I'd be happy to give you a few explanations. 20 years ago there was simply vitamin K in medicine. It was used as an antagonist of blood thinning, often used together with the drug called marcuma. The K vitamin at the time corresponds to today's K1, and it is owed to integrative medicine and its researchers that K2 and its differences have been discovered. Vitamin K1 amplifies blood clotting as its main effect. We need vitamin K1 so that our blood will clot when we hurt ourselves. K2 is a little different. Although it also acts in the blood clotting process, we must not forget that. When you take K2, you also have increased blood clotting. The difference between K1 and K2 is that K1, when ingested through your food, only gets absorbed by about 10%. With K2, it is 100%. And the other difference is, K1 is processed in the liver, and also remains in the liver, nowhere else. And K2 is distributed throughout the body and unfolds its effect broadly. There are many forms of K2. If you're dealing with a product like this, you have to look at its side chains. We need MK7, which are side chains of MK2. We need MK7, which are side chains of K2. And it is important to have the all-trans form, MK7 all-trans. All other K2s have no physiological effect, so pay attention when you go and buy a product. And even within those products, there are products that actually contain very little K2. I have made measurements with a laboratory on various products. Not everything stated on the label is actually inside. It is important to ensure good quality here. As always, you will find a link below where you can find more details and several studies about the mechanisms of vitamin K2 in our bodies. So, the three main effects of K2 are: it strengthens blood clotting, I already mentioned that. The second effect is, it helps incorporate calcium into the bone. So it is a great remedy for osteoporosis. And the third, a very good effect, it produces the inner layers of our arteries. It protects the inner layers of our arteries from calcification. It is a preventive substance against the arterial calcification or arteriosclerosis, which is feared by everybody. So you can experience these fantastic effects when you take vitamin K2. Therefore, the areas of application are pretty much given as well: osteoporosis, blood clotting and protection of the blood vessels, the arteriosclerosis or prevention of, with all the consequences of course, heart attack, stroke and so on. For these illnesses I always add a K2 product for all my patients. The dose is very constant. We're speaking of 2 to 3 micrograms, not milligrams. Micrograms per kilogram of body weight. For a person of 70 kilograms, that would be around 200 to 220 micrograms. And it is important, this quantity is constant. No matter how much vitamin D you take, you simply need this constant amount of K2. Also, to reinforce the effects of vitamin D, mixed products of vitamin D and K2 are not suitable because you can't control the amount of K2 very well there.